big episode of Big Flippin' Bass. Today we got the unboxing for Mystery Tackle Box, both the regular box and the per box for the month of July. I'm joined here with my dad. He has the per box, I have the regular box, so we're going to show you a bit of what comes in each and talk just a brief bit about the differences that comes in each of them and what the pros are. Really, there is no cons, but the pros are for each box. So to start off, we'll start with mine, which is the regular box. Since it's the smaller one, I'll show you everything that comes involved. I got my GoPro set up here so I can show you a little bit more a close-up of the little stuff and stuff like that so you can see the different colors. Go ahead, crack it open and find the card in the bottom. So this is our card. Right off the bat, it's showing a couple of lures for $7.99, a couple of small things for $2.70, $2.49. We'll go over that individual, and as usual, I'll try to put the prices on it. So the first bait on the list is the XB1. It's from Excite Baits, and it's a nice little square bill crankbait. It looks like it's probably in a bluegill color. And this one dives, I've seen it earlier, 2 to 5 feet. Let's see if I can get this out of the box here for you. Get a good look at that. A nice little bluegill brim, whatever you want to call it. Excite square bill. I really like the color on that one. Again, the lake at the house here, they hit that bluegill color a lot. There's a lot of bluegill in this lake, so that's a good way to match the hatch. The next bait is the Chuggin' Spook Jr. That's a classic bait. Nice spook bait. When I'm working this bait, I'm going to try to, instead of so much walking it, I'm really going to try to pop it, since it has that popping mouth to create a lot of water distribution, to cause it to pop the water real hard, and that's going to create a lot more disturbance. I'll try to hone the fish in on that. Next is the Mr. Finesse tungsten hooks. These are some drop shot hooks. And to be completely honest, I used a little bit bigger drop shot hooks than these. These are really tiny, real thin wire, small drop shot hooks. You can probably use those for, I guess you could probably wacky rig them too, because they don't really have that bend. Most of your drop shots have a bend in them. This don't have it that much, that offset bend. Something like that, especially that thin of wire, I'm definitely going to use a lighter tackle, my spinning rod, my 8-pound braid, and an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. And don't really set the hook. I'm going to use more of a reel set than a jerk back from that hook set. That looks like the hook will probably straighten out really easy. The next one is a V&M Baits from Port Pen. Or no, it's a Port Pen worm from V&M Baits, excuse me. And I really like the looks of these. This is a good drop shot looking worm, real finesse. I love the color, that plum color, and multi-flake. It has a real pointy tail on it. It has a lot of action. It won't be steel when I'm even just holding it. So that'd be a good either shaky head or a good drop shot worm, like I was saying, real finesse. Something almost like the robo worm on the way that it's designed. Which I discovered a robo worm here lately, and I really like it for drop shots. So I really like the way that one looks. And last but not least, we have a classic bass sample of Baitmate live game attractant, and that's the ultra concentrated formula. And of course, Baitmate, you know, they make awesome bait scents. I use them with several things like garlic and salt and classic, and live game fish as well. And then, like normal on any of your other ones, you got the Devil Digest. You got your sticker. I can get that off, which we got them on just about everything. You got the card with all the information and the websites and the YouTube channel. Don't forget to go on there, and that way you can see how you're supposed to use the different baits or different techniques. And the scratch off card, which this one busted like normal. But that is what comes in my regular box for the month of July. Not a bad box. I don't think it's going to be a hard box to complete a slam on whenever I get a chance to do that. You know, the shallow diving crankbait, which the lake out here, like I said, we recently got it. Oh, I forgot the split shots too. This is by, these are tungsten split shots by Mr. Finesse too. I got a pack of 2 of those. I'll probably tie that on to a bottom of a drop shot, because I don't really use split shots for anything, really, to be honest. But I can use it for a drop shot weight for sure. But we found out recently with the help of a fish finder that my dad purchased for the John boat that the lake out here is really not that deep. I guess the deepest part we measured is what, 12 feet?
Yep.
And so, you know, even when the bass are off deep with the heat, they're still staying around 7, we'll say probably 7 to 3 feet range. You know, they're not super deep. They're not laying on the bottom. Though we have marked some of them bottom, but most of the ones that we've caught recently have been, you know, suspension baits or running a spinner bait real slow roll through there, and caught a couple on jerk baits and stuff like that. So that shallow or deep or shallow creek bait actually might come in handy with the lake out here. So that's the biggest thing with that. Again, you pay $15 for the regular box, and you get, I think it's a total of at least $20 worth of tackle. And they've always come through, and it's really good about showing you different brands and stuff like that, which I didn't really do an unboxing for last month because I was going to do this, but we just didn't get around to do it. So I might, at the end of this video, kind of do a, I guess like a highlight shot of one of the baits that come in there, because I really liked it. It was really different, and that shows you the benefit of what comes with a mystery tackle box. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the Pro Box and unbox it.
Alright, the Pro Box. And I have already opened mine and went online to look at the items that come in it. The first item is the Stick-A-Minnow by Unfair Lures. Runs $8.99. I really like the looks of this bait. It is a stick type bait, swim bait. The sign on it does say that it's for top water, but if you go on the website, like this one is aboutmybox.com/BassPro072, and if you go online and look at that, it tells you about each of the baits, which I really like. It tells you how to fish them. And none of these had videos with them, but most of the time what I found is they'll have a video. They'll have a lot of testimonials, people talking about how they used them, how they fished them, and what they caught. This one did have a video, but it's not of somebody fishing. It's actually the manufacturer, Unfair Lures, and they talk about the different styles they have and the different sizes. This particular size is the 80, which is the smallest that they have. And this one is supposed to dive 1 to 5 feet. And it is a semi-suspending bait. So from watching the video, rather, once you stop the bait, it will actually invert and stand up and swim on its own and wiggle back and forth on the way back to the top of the water.
Huh.
So that's a pretty neat feature, I think, because that'll trigger a lot of baits that's supposed to look like an injured or sick bait fish. I also like the almost holographic features of it. If you put it into the light, it has a really deep reflective finish on it, and I think that'll carry a lot of light underwater and reflect a lot, which, like Nolan said, we've been catching a lot of fish on gold spinner baits, and I've been throwing them and letting them sink all the way to the bottom and then slow rolling them back up, and they're really changing speed on that's triggered a lot of bites, so I really expect that one to do good. There again, this one runs 1 to 5 feet. The next one is a chugging spook. It's like the one Nolan had, or very similar, same manufacturer. It's by Hendon, but this one is a full size. As you can see, it's a fairly large one, and like he was talking about displacing water, this one has the cupped nose on it, if you can see that, so that it's actually supposed to displace a lot of water. It has almost ribbed sides on it. They're contoured, which is supposed to create a bubble trail. So it will trigger a lot of top water bites for you. I can't wait to get that one out early morning and try that one. The next one is a Soft Vibe. This is basically like a rattle trap or lipless crankbait, but this one is a soft plastic designed like a lipless crankbait, so that you have supposedly the best of both worlds. You can bounce it off of a lot of structure without damaging it, like you would some hard plastic baits. It's supposed to be more durable. It's got a weighted belly on it so that it will swim downward and stay in the correct position while it's going through the water. But there again, this one has a really deep color line inside of it, which I think is makes it have a realistic look to it. I really like the way that one looks. I can't wait to get out and try that one.
I'm actually going to chime in on that one since we didn't have the unboxing video last month. I actually had one of the soft lipless crankbaits in my last box as well, and I really liked it. You know, it does, like you said, it gives you a benefit of really both worlds. The only problem I had with mine seemed to ride up in the water column a lot, and that might also be because I didn't have the right line. I didn't have a ride with fluorocarbon. I only had monofilament, which we all know that floats. So I don't know if it was a combination of the fact of the monofilament and the texture of the stuff they made it out of, or if it's just what that lure does, but I had a real hard time keeping that down in the water column. I'd crank it a little bit and stop so it would sink back down before I can really start retrieving it again. If you steady retrieve it or try to burn them or try to rip them through grass, it seemed like it would pop up to the top of the water really easy. But it was successful. I threw it twice, caught 2 fish. They weren't very big, but I mean, it was just, you know, every cast it would seem like I'd get a bite on them.
Yeah, but you know, that might not be bad with what we've been experiencing. What we have found in the local pond or lake out here in the neighborhood is we found with the sonar a drop-off that goes around the backside of the lake near the dam, and it will go from 4 foot and drop off really at probably a 60 degree or better to 12 feet. And where that 7 foot to 12 foot drop off is, if you sit right on the edge of that, and when we're marking fish, we're marking them in the 2 to 5 foot water, but they're running along that. And what we've noticed is there's balls of bait fish coming by, and those bass are following it. And I wonder if that running a little higher won't work to follow those balls of bait fish and get right into strike zone of where those fish are at, where those bass are at. So it'll be fun to try. We also got Baby Mama by Buddha Bait Company, and I'm really interested in trying these. This is by Buddha Baits. It is a creature type bait, and the first thing you notice as soon as you open the package is the smell. It is heavy, heavy garlic smell. I do like this. I went online and read up on it, and one of the things that they talk about with the design of this is made for heavy, heavy structure. The square tip that's on the end is made to keep your hook from sliding out. If you're using a weight, it's supposed to go flat against that surface, which will allow it to come through structures and brush a lot better. And then the heavy design of it, it's made to withstand multiple casts into heavy brush. It's supposed to be a lot more durable. It's got a thick, heavy design to it. You could probably fish this without a weight at all, just using a Trocor heavy hook or something like that, flipping hook. But there again, if you're going to be in really heavy water, you would probably want to put a tungsten weight or something on the end.
So if you're just fishing around something like a down tree or something, you can go weightless on it, not have to worry about the weight wrapping around a branch or anything like that. Or if you're punching with it, because it's not a lot of appendages, you could have a weight on it to peg it, and it'll really be versatile that way because of how heavy it is. I do think people won't have any trouble casting it. If you can cast a Senko, you should be able to cast that.
Well, one of the things I really like about this rib design on it and the weight of it, my favorite bait to use is a Pocket Rocket, Cream Pumpkin Pocket Rocket by Reaction Baits. It is a finesse type, stick type worm. It's thicker on each end and more narrow in the middle, but it has these ridges on it that are actually backwards. The ridges point towards the tail with the flares going towards the head. so it kind of displaces water. And I love those because they are so heavy that you could cast them without a weight and keep that natural movement to them. So I'm hoping this will be very similar. Can't wait to get out and try that. Next thing we have is a flipping mango jig. This is by Nicholas Lures. Has a pointed head on it so that it's supposed to come through brush and structure better without getting hung up. It does come with a couple of toothpicks that they've thrown in for free. Absolutely no extra charge for that. For pegging your weights or anything that you do with that, peg it so it won't slip down on it. So it's a one that's made specifically for flipping. It's a 5/0, 3/8 ounce. And then we have brush heads. Put your in here somewhere. These brush heads are pretty neat. These are 1/8 ounce. They do have multiple worm holder ridges on them, so they're supposed to hold the bait a little bit better. These are supposed to be made for fishing very heavy cover. It has really big, thick brush guards on it. I'm kind of questioning on these. I have some drop shot hooks that have heavy brush guards, and people recommend cutting them off because they tend to cost you some bites. So I'm kind of interested on how this will work. But the way I foresee it, you're going to be throwing this, if you're using this, you're going to be going into some heavy structure, looking for some big fish, getting that reaction strike. So I don't know how much it would prevent a hookup, but that's the one concern I have with that. And then finally, we have the Saturn worm. These are small, salty worms. They have very, very heavy ridges on them. They are considered a finesse worm, even though they have the curled tail on it. They're very thin in the middle, but in very short, small profile. And these are recommended for either drop shots or for a wacky head, or not a wacky head, but a shaky head type fishing. And it's made to, like you said a while ago, have a lot of action in it. You know, that tail's going to move around quite a bit. It's really free moving, and with those ridges, any current in the water, you can see how that tail does with me rubbing it. Any current in the water is going to get some type of movement associated with that tail, and hopefully attract the fish in. And there again, my scratch off was a bust.
And you get the same thing in that you get the scratch off tickets. You get the MTB Pro Box sticker instead, which he actually has a couple in his. I don't know if they did that on accident.
Three. Yeah, they put
but
three.
It looks like that, and you get the Dibble Digest and all that good stuff. The two major differences with Pro Box over the regular box is, like I said, I paid $15 and you pay what's like extra $5. Yeah, so $9 extra, roughly $10. So $25 you get at least. I think it's like $40 to $45 worth of tackle with the Pro Box. So again, you're already getting your money back and then some. And then also where I get sample packs in the Pro Box for my soft plastics, he gets full packs. So like the worms that I got, I only got 4 in, and he got a full pack of like 6 or 7, how many ever tend to come in that pack of soft plastics. So yeah, that's the biggest difference between the two big boxes. I'm excited. If you haven't got Mystery Tackle Box, I recommend it to everybody I talk to. For those who are questioning whether you do it or not, that's a definite must-have, I think, for any fisherman, especially, or any angler, bass angler, especially if you're one that don't like to spend a lot of money on lures. That's one of the main reasons why I like getting the Mystery Tackle Box. It introduces you to lures you don't normally use, companies you never really heard of, and then also it sends you a lot of stuff. At least one in every box is like a $15 lure, $10 plus lure. And so it's stuff that I wouldn't normally go out and buy because I'm not going to spend money on a lure that chances are I'm probably going to wind up losing at some point anyway. This box will introduce me to that. And, you know, I pay $15, they send me a $15 lure, I've already got my money into it, and then whatever else is in it, it's just cherry on top of the cake. You know, it's just not, there's not a reason not to do it, even if you don't want to spend the money on it. budget yourself out to $15, $25 if you want to do the Pro Box, which I recommend. I am still planning on upgrading to that. And really just enjoy the box. It's literally like Christmas every month, especially if you're really fanatic-y about bass fishing. You know, if you're a huge bass fishing fan, and you can actually set your box to whatever you do. If you like to catfish, they have a catfish box. If you like saltwater, they have a saltwater box. If you're a pan fisherman, you have a panfish box. If you bass fish, they have largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted, I believe. So if you're really into all these different species, you can set it up and really design it just specifically for you.
And you could switch back and forth.
Yeah, and you can switch back and forth. You can cancel at any point in time, no questions asked. And it's just an awesome way to introduce new companies out on the market. It has an awesome new thing like these soft, slipless crankbaits. I never heard of those before until I got mine last month, and now we got another one. And the Buddha Bait Company, they've sent me some really successful jigs, and that's the soft plastics, which I'm excited to try that. So, coming up in the near future, just so y'all know, we'll be going to Lake Conroe on Saturday. I'm hoping to do some deep diving, crankbaits, probably some use some football jigs, Carolina rigs, and big 10-inch worms, getting ready for the summer pattern, see if we can't hit some main lake points and some creek channels under the water, see if we can't pull out some of those big ones that everybody's saying is there in Lake Conroe. Last time I was there, I told you I was trolling for a striper, and I actually caught or hung, I should say, probably about a 4-pounder, and he jumped up and tail whipped and spit the hook on me. So we're going to try to go to that point and see if we can't track the bottom with a fish finder, because I didn't have one that day, and see what's really under the water while they're holding up there. Like I always said in the end of my videos, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to follow me on Instagram if you're not. Follow me on Facebook. Go to the Facebook Big Flippin' Bass webpage, and tight lines to you, and I'll see you in the future.